30 BC. After the successful invasion of Egypt, Octavian executes Marcus Antonius Antillus, the eldest son of Mark Antony, and Caesarion, the last king of the Ptolemaic dynasty of Egypt and only child of Julius Caesar and Cleopatra. 20 BC. Ludi Volcanalici are held within the temple precinct of Vulcan, and used by Augustus to mark the treaty with Parthia and the return of the legionary standards that had been lost at the Battle of Carrhae in 53 BC. 79. Mount Vesuvius begins stirring, on the feast day of Vulcan, the Roman god of fire. The eruption destroyed the Roman cities of Pompeii, Herculaneum, Oplontis and Stabiae, as well as several other settlements. 476. Odoacer, chieftain of the Germanic tribes, Herulic Syrian Foederati, is proclaimed Rex Italiae, king of Italy, by his troops. 1244. Siege of Jerusalem. The city's citadel, the Tower of David, surrenders to the Quaresmia. 1268. The Battle of Tagliacozzo marks the fall of the Hohenstaufen family from the imperial and Sicilian thrones, and leading to the new chapter of Angevin domination in southern Italy. 1305. Sir William Wallace is executed for high treason at Smithfield, London. He was captured in Robroyston near Glasgow and handed over to King Edward I of England. 1382. Siege of Moscow. The Golden Horde led by Khan Toktamish lays siege to the capital of the Grand Duchy of Moscow. 1514. The Battle of Chaldiran ends with a decisive victory for the Sultan Selim I, Ottoman Empire, over the Shah Ismail I, founder of the Safavid dynasty. 1521. Christian II of Denmark is deposed as King of Sweden and Gustav Vasa is elected regent. 1541. French explorer Jacques Cartier lands near Quebec City in his third voyage to Canada. 1572. French Wars of Religion. Mob violence against thousands of Huguenots in Paris results in the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre. 1595. Long Turkish War. Wallachian Prince Michael the Brave confronts the Ottoman army in the Battle of Kalugarani and achieves a tactical victory. 1600. Battle of Gifu Castle. The eastern forces of Tokugawa Ieyasu defeat the western Japanese clans loyal to Toyotomi Hideyori, leading to the destruction of Gifu Castle and serving as a prelude to the Battle of Sekigahara. 1628. George Villiers, the first Duke of Buckingham, is assassinated by John Felton. 1655. Battle of Sabota. The Swedish Empire led by Charles X Gustav defeats the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. 1703. Edirne event. Sultan Mustafa II of the Ottoman Empire is dethroned. 1775. American Revolutionary War. King George III delivers his proclamation of rebellion to the Court of St. James's, stating that the American colonies had proceeded to a state of open and avowed rebellion. 1782. American Revolutionary War. British forces under Edward Despard complete the reconquest of the Black River settlements on the Mosquito Coast from the Spanish. 1784. Western North Carolina, now Eastern Tennessee, declares itself an independent state under the name of Franklin. It is not accepted into the United States, and only lasts for 4 years. 1813. At the Battle of Grossbeeren, the Prussians under von Bülow repulse the French army. 1864. American Civil War. The Union Navy captures Fort Morgan, Alabama, thus breaking Confederate dominance of all ports on the Gulf of Mexico except Galveston, Texas. 1866. The Austro-Prussian War ends with the Treaty of Prague. 1898. The Southern Cross Expedition, the first British venture of the heroic age of Antarctic exploration, departs from London. 1914. World War I. The British Expeditionary Force and the French Fifth Army begin their great retreat before the German army. 1921. British airship R-38 experiences structural failure over Hull in England and crashes in the Humber estuary. Of her 49 British and American training crew, only 4 survive. 1923. Captain Lowell Smith and Lieutenant John P. Richter perform the first mid-air refueling on de Havilland DH-4B, setting an endurance flight record of 37 hours. 1929. Hebron massacre. During the 1929 Palestine riots, Arab attacks on the Jewish community in Hebron in the British Mandate of Palestine occur, continuing until the next day, resulting in the death of 65 to 68 Jews and the remaining Jews being forced to leave the city. 1939. World War II. Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. In a secret protocol to the pact, Poland, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Romania are divided into German and Soviet spheres of influence. 1942. World War II. beginning of the Battle of Stalingrad. The battle ended with a Soviet victory and resulted in the destruction of the German 6th Army and Italian 8th Army. 1943 World War II. Kharkiv is liberated by the Soviet Red Army for the second time after the Battle of Kursk. 1944 World War II. Marseille is liberated by the Allied forces. The liberation of Marseille was part of Operation Dragoon, which was launched on August 15, 1944, and aimed to liberate southern France from German occupation. 1944 World War II. King Michael of Romania dismisses the pro-Nazi government of Marshal Antonescu, who is later arrested. Romania switches sides from the Axis to the Allies. 1944 Freckleton air disaster. A United States Army Air Force's B-24 Liberator bomber crashes into a school in Freckleton, England, killing 61 people. 1945 World War II. Soviet-Japanese War. The USSR State Defense Committee issues Decree No. 9898 CC, about receiving, accommodation, and labor utilization of the Japanese Army prisoners of war. 1954 The first flight of the Lockheed C-130 multi-role aircraft takes place. The Lockheed C-130 Hercules is a 4-engine turboprop military transport aircraft that has been in service since the 1950s. 1958 Chinese Civil War. The Second Taiwan Strait Crisis begins with the People's Liberation Army's bombardment of Quemoy. 1966 Lunar Orbiter 1 takes the first photograph of Earth from orbit around the Moon. 1970 Organized by Mexican-American labor union leader Cesar Chavez, the Salad Bowl Strike, the largest farm worker strike in U.S. history, begins. 1973 A bank robbery gone wrong in Stockholm, Sweden, turns into a hostage crisis. Over the next 5 days the hostages begin to sympathize with their captors, leading to the term, Stockholm Syndrome. 1975 The start of the Wave Hill Walk-Off by Gurindji people in Australia, lasting 8 years, a landmark event in the history of Indigenous land rights in Australia, commemorated in a 1991 Paul Kelly song and an annual celebration. 1985 Hans Tiege, top counter-spy of West Germany, defects to East Germany. 1989 Singing Revolution. 2 million people from Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania stand on the Vilnius-Tallinn road, holding hands. 1990 Saddam Hussein appears on Iraqi state television with a number of Western guests, actually hostages, to try to prevent the Gulf War. 1990 West and East Germany announced that they will reunite on October 3. 1991 The World Wide Web is open to the public. 1994 Eugene Bullard, the only African-American pilot in World War I, is posthumously commissioned as second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. 2006 Natasha Kampusch, who had been abducted at the age of 10, escapes from her captor Wolfgang Priklopil, after 8 years of captivity. 2007 The skeletal remains of Russia's last royal family members Alexei Nikolaevich, Tsarevich of Russia, and his sister Grand Duchess Anastasia are discovered near Yekaterinburg, Russia. 2010 The Manila hostage crisis occurred near the Quirino Grandstand in Manila, Philippines, killing 9 people including the perpetrator while injuring 9 others. 2011 Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi is overthrown after the National Transitional Council forces take control of Bab al-Azizia compound during the Libyan civil war.